Hi there, everybody. Today it's a happy Thursday. It's nice weather outside. We just finished this big deep freeze of -30, -40 kind of weather, and I'm so glad that is over with. Today we are going to be talking with Leighton Jantz. He's the owner operator of Brick by Brick Home Inspections. He's actually a friend of mine as well. We've been talking for years now, I think. Hey Leighton, so how are you feeling today?
Oh, doing pretty good. I'm enjoying the balmy -16 today. So,
Right? Yeah. Okay, and so I know we've been talking for quite a while. Hey, so like how long we've been knowing each other now?
must be at least 4 years or so.
4 years, yeah. I think I first met you outside of the Panorama shopping center when we were putting that
Yeah,
big
I
old roof on.
dropped by one of your commercial jobs, so wanted to get some information from you. Um, there's always expanding my network of working with industry professionals. It's home inspectors can't know be right on top of all the code changes and so on all the time. So I like to keep with current industry professionals.
I think that's a pretty good idea because I mean, yeah, things are changing all the time. Even with like manufacturer specs, we just had an update done to our manufacturer's manual. So yeah, no, it's definitely a good idea. I mean, it's such a vast amount of knowledge you need to know. Just like maybe tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I started in construction, cribbing basements and so on at first with my with my uncle, um, out in BC. I've cribbed basements. I've done framing. I've framed uh, wood basements even. There's also lately I've gotten into decks and fences because I was actually in a car accident and I can't lift the big walls with the headers over doorways anymore. So I've gotten out of residential framing.
So that car accident basically got you into inspections.
Yeah, I've gotten home inspections and small construction jobs.
Okay. How long were framing for and cribbing?
Uh, Construction for 27 years now.
Oh wow. Yeah, and I think I really value that in a home inspector because I mean like framing is really like the bones of things, So you got a
Yeah.
good
Structure is the start of any good house.
right, totally. So so when was that accident?
That'd be about 7, 8 years ago now.
So what happened there, if you don't mind me asking?
I got T-boned at an intersection. Lost my Mustang and ruined my back at the same time. I've got two slip discs and yeah, have a lot of trouble. Uh, can't sleep through the night. Everything. That's besides the point.
Wow. So was that here in Calgary?
Yeah.
Oh my. So was it like a drunk driver or what happened there?
No, she wasn't paying attention to a traffic light and ran a red light.
Think it was a texter maybe?
I have no idea.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, that's interesting though. But I mean, hey, you're onward and upward, and you're doing home inspections, which I think is a good place for you personally. I like you here in the biz because I like to consult you when I need help with things as well. Um, so just kind of moving on here a bit. Um, Basically, when a homeowner is looking for a home inspector, what should they look for in a home inspection, and what should they look for in when they're picking a home inspector?
Well, make sure your home inspector is qualified. There's The Alberta government recognizes three associations. There's two are actually American owned, and it's an online test. And before this whole COVID time, I actually met another home inspector at a realtors conference, and he chuckled at me and said, "I looked up all my answers online." I said, "That's not something to brag about." So APHIS, Alberta Professional Home Inspector Society, is who I'm a member of, and they have a supervised test. There's no way you can cheat on that. I figured it's the hardest association to become a part of, so that's why I wanted to be part of APHIS.
And I think so. You said there was three. I think was there three?
Yeah, the Alberta government recognizes three. I'm not saying that the ones that are members of the other ones, they got a construction background and they can be good inspectors there too. But if you got somebody that just went through the books, my kid could answer those questions actually if she can look up the answers, right?
Totally. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. The vetting not very good in those other ones. All right. Well, I mean, I know from my experience, I get all the time. I'll be looking at things. I'll see obvious things that are missed in the attic space, and maybe it's because of some of these, I guess, cheater inspectors.
Yeah, actually the industry standard is pretty low. I'm not really that impressed.
Hmm.
For an example, you don't if you write on your report that you didn't go in the attic, you inspected from the hatch, that's perfectly fine. I just recently found out we don't have to open the electrical panels either. I was shocked that some home inspectors don't open panels. Smoke detectors, you just have to see that they're installed. And you don't check the date. I actually, quite a while ago, I inspected a house that was built in the early 90s. And I take the smoke detector down. There was a no battery backup, and the wiring was still up in the attic. It had never been plugged in. So expired and not plugged in. How many inspectors missed that?
Right. Well, yeah, because some people are just going by I think they're just trying to rush through as quickly as possible, make the best dollar they can.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you kind of go over and beyond, and it sounds like some of those standards, even though these standards are unacceptable.
In my opinion, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think you've convinced me too. So hopefully that can change one of these days. Um, so what R value do you think an attic should have?
Uh, you can't fault a house for when it was built. If I'm inspecting a 1960s house, sometimes they're still got the old wood chip sawdust insulation, but newer standards, I believe it was 2014 changed. You have to have R50 in the attic. You can go more with an HRV on the furnace. It's all dependent on the house, what year it was made.
Okay. So I know this is kind of a variable question because there's different types of insulation out there, but if a homeowner was to go into their own attic and just, because maybe their house is cold or something, or maybe it's getting too hot in the summer, what would they do to, like, how could they check how much R they have, like with a tape measure, like how would they tell, you know?
Tape measure, I believe, yeah, cellulose is, I think, 20 inches of our insulation. Fiberglass is a little more. Cellulose has a higher R value. If you got spray foam insulation, it doesn't take as much because it's got a much higher R value rating.
That's something I find is super rare. If I go into like an attic space, I mean, I very rarely ever see spray foam.
Yeah, it's not very common.
What's your opinion on spray foam?
In the right conditions, it's great. It can be used also as a vapor barrier. But one thing, if you do have a roof leak or something, you don't notice it until it's really bad.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of that's a good point for sure. Um, all right. Well, let's talk about some of the photos that you gave us here.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
um, so I know you found all kinds of crazy stuff on online here, and
These are all
so not online. Yeah, right.
from my reports.
Right. That's sorry. That was my mistake. Let me see here. Let's just see if I can. Oh, I think I just need to press over there. Whoops. Okay. Oh, which one was it there, Brody?
USB has his files.
Oh, there we go. And just go to DCM.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. So what exactly we got going on here?
Well, this is a fairly, actually, just a 5-year-old roof, I believe, by what the seller had said. So you can take that with a grain of salt. But yeah, there was defects all over the shingles. Some were missing. There was tabs missing. There was nails exposed, just all kinds of defects.
Wow. Yeah, that just looking at that, it looks like they totally missed the line. They didn't even nail them in proper.
Yeah, it's completely off.
Wow.
You can
Yeah.
always tell somebody that doesn't take pride in their work.
Yeah, and what's interesting though, I find like a lot of these roofs, they look totally fine. Sometimes you come there and then it's like, oh yeah, that's great, and then one windstorm and they're all ripping off.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. Okay, well, good find there. Um, so what do we got going on here?
Well, this one has actually no roof venting at all. There was totally missed by the roof installer. They probably couldn't find this guy to go back to him to find any repairs to be done, because it's probably a company that's gone under since this happened.
Right, right. So for those who don't know, why do you think somebody would want vents on their roof?
You need circulation in your attic. I believe it's for every 300 square feet of roof space, you need 1 square foot of roof venting. And once you put one of those cap roofs on, that's no longer 1 square foot. So you have to, don't just get anybody. Have a good roofer like you. Make sure you do your roof venting properly.
Absolutely, yeah. I find that like a lot of people use those little $10, $20 cheap vents, little box vents, and I mean, look, to code, it is proper, but I think everyone in this climate should have those nice tall vents, like either whether it's a whirlybird or something that sticks above the peak, because like they get buried in the snow all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah. Once you're burying the vent, you're not getting any air circulation.
Yeah, you can have all the vents in the world. Yeah, okay. Well, let's move along here. So what do we got going on here?
Well, here we got somebody who had added insulation in their attic. This is cellulose blown in, and they have completely blocked up the soffit vents. So obviously having some moisture damage to the roof sheathing.
Okay, yeah. So what would you recommend to remedy something like this?
Depending on how handy the guy is, if he feels handy and comfortable of going into the attic, which not too many people do, you could rake the insulation away from the soffit vents. But probably the cheapest, if you want a professional in there, because that would be time intensive, would be to add a row of lower roof vents.
Right. Yeah, I've been looking into this. I mean, we put in those lower roof vents as well, but again, we have that issue with things getting buried even then. So it's I think it's obviously, I'm sure you agree that that you have the venting underneath the soffit, or like soffit venting, but I mean, but you can't even have that sometimes because the fire codes. So yeah. Yeah, I found this cool product, and I think we're going to start using it now. It's like this, it's like a metal air intake vent that like it's kind of like it sits forward, the back obviously sealed, but the front it sticks up nicely and doesn't get buried in the snow. It's got this big they're really big. Have you seen them?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, they're you don't see them very often, but I think that we're going to try to find where those ones are. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got to stay on top of technology.
Yeah, for sure. No. And then okay, so next thing here, so like obviously there's some black mold here and such. Like so, I mean, look, if you want to be picky, obviously you want to remove this wood as well if you really want to get down to it. But
Yes.
if you air it out, what do you think?
Obviously, I'm a kind of a large guy. I couldn't get down there to probe the wood, but I put in the report to have the roofer have a look, because they'll pull up the shingles at the bottom when they're doing the roof venting
Right.
and see whether it's for sure got to be replaced or not.
Gotcha. So a little bit's okay, but I mean, obviously, there's a point where like it's this to me looks like it's getting very close to having to be completely ripped off.
Yeah, it would totally depend on its structural integrity.
Absolutely. Okay. And do you know anything about like mold remedy? Like, do you think like a disinfectant on there would do the trick? That you think you should treat it?
Down in there, it's such a small space at the roof edge. It'd be really difficult. I'd probably just remove it.
Right.
But They do. There's what is it? The dry ice blasting now. So then you blast it, and the ice melts, and you're fine. It would totally. I've never seen anybody do it.
Right.
I've just heard about this
Cool.
new way of doing attics.
We'll have to look into that later. Okay, well, let's move along here. So, what's going on here?
Believe it or not, there's a gutter in there. This is yeah. If you don't clean the debris out of your gutters, you're not gonna get water away from your house properly.
Right, right. Yeah, it kind of looks like they got a bit of a garden in there. All right, so this is kind of like an easy, like, home tip, like I guess, like this looks like very neglected. Like to me, this looks like somebody has delayed the work so long where now it's like a big project.
Yeah, yeah. It was regular maintenance is just part of owning a home. If you own a home, be prepared.
Right. Yeah. No, it's work up. So how often would you say you should clean your eave troughs out?
Should definitely be checked every year. You probably, depending on what's around your house, if you have lots of tall trees around your house, you're going to be cleaning it more often.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I've seen that before. For sure. So like when would you say like the optimal times are to check your eave troughs?
Spring and summer, or sorry, spring and fall.
Okay.
After the winter, see if there's any debris got caked in there with the snow, and then in the fall to make sure it's clear, because our winter with the Chinook for our freeze thaw cycles, if they're clogged like that, it can do some damage to your gutters also.
Right, right. Okay. Well, and just for anybody that doesn't know right now, we do gutters, so give us a call. We will clean those out for you if you can't get up there. And I know it's pretty scary, some of these projects. And how do you feel with getting up on the roof?
With my years in construction, I don't have too much of a problem. Probably the worst one I had was I did a 3-story house in DeWinton with a walkout and nailing on the fascia board, leaning out past the roof tails. That wasn't fun.
No way. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't have too much trouble. I don't have the tie-offs that you guys do. So in the wintertime, I'm limited with snow and ice on the roofs. So it's limited in my inspections then.
Well, you know what? Prioritizing safety is a big deal, even to us. I mean, even with our tie-offs and stuff, like there's some roofs where we tell people, like, I'm sorry, but there's just, like there's such thing as preventative maintenance. And if you neglect the preventative maintenance, then we're not going to risk our lives.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody should really.
Yeah. And my roofing inspection isn't done until I go in the attic either. So I can see if any leaks have been occurring in the past. So.
Right. So speaking of that, so what can people call you for, in general? Like what kind of service would they call you for?
My most common calls are for buyer's inspections. People getting ready to buy a house, they put in an offer on a house and have me come and have a look at it before they purchase. Quite a few are subject to conditions of the home inspection. If they decide to negotiate the price with my findings or not is totally up to them and their realtor.
Right.
Then there's also pre-listing inspections. Some people decide to have their home inspected before they put it on the market. That way they can expect to what's happening with the buyer's inspector. I also get calls for maintenance if renos have been done on a property and they weren't the general public doesn't know what they're looking at when they're having work done on their house, and they want to know whether it was done properly or not.
Right. And what would you charge for something like that?
New home warranty inspections. Also, sorry, it was at 11 months when somebody owns a house. Those are $350. I look at all the same things as a buyer's inspection, but usually the report writing is shorter, so I don't charge quite as much. But regular buyer's inspection is $475 plus GST, up to 2,000 square foot, and then adding up on from there.
Right. Okay. And do you offer any kind of free services?
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, hey, there's nothing wrong with that. So what about if somebody calls you and they've got a quick question? Would you be okay with answering that?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
And all my clients, my past clients, uh, if they have any questions about their home, about maintenance, ongoing, 5 years down the road, they can give me a call. When I do an inspection, I take 150 plus pictures, establishment pictures, what room I'm going into, and so on. And if they have any questions, no problem. I save those pictures with the report, and I can call those up, and I can basically go through the house again from my computer. If there's something I can't figure out from my pictures, I'll revisit the house at no extra charge.
Okay. Hey, that's almost like a warranty.
Pretty much.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Um, Now, I got a question for you, and I mean, I've brought this up before, and I'm trying to get to the bottom of it. So I don't want to seem like the crazy person that's saying that I think that some real estate agents are working with the home inspectors, kind of back scratching and just kind of pushing through sales. What's your opinion on that, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, I don't know. I've heard there's some home inspectors doing 4 or 5 home inspections in a day. There's no possible way I could do that. I only book 2 in a day. It takes me 3 hours or more to go through a house, and then almost that much time again to write the report. If it's a first time buyer, I book off the whole day because they're going to have more questions. There's so many things that a home buyer has to know about their house. I've spent I had a first time home buyer, and I spent 5.5 hours just doing the visual inspection with them. And just to answer their questions, I want them confident and safe in their new house.
So basically, what you're telling me, if a homeowner is maybe kind of trying to vet a home inspector, you think they should ask them how many home inspectors you do in a day?
Well, I don't know if you'd get a straight answer, but if they say, "Oh, I can squeeze you in at the end of the day, you'll be my fourth," or I'd say goodbye.
Goodness. Yeah, fair enough. That's a really good tip right there. Um, okay, well, I'm just going to move the slide over here and let's talk a little bit more about your adventures. So, what are we
Uh,
looking at here?
so this is the start. One of the things, our maintenance items that we find in our inspection reports. This is a duct, if you can believe it, of a furnace duct in a house. Um, Obviously, they haven't had it cleaned for a long time. If you have pets in your house, you probably should get your furnace cleaned every year.
So is that cat litter?
No, I
Okay.
have no idea this is an older picture, but this goes together with the next couple.
Okay.
There's this is severely neglected furnace.
Okay. Well, let's move along then.
This is the cabinet, so of your furnace, which is the clean side of your filter. So it's circulating this through your house. And then the next slide is the actual fan. So this is definitely needs some work if they can keep it running for. I gave no time limit on how much longer this furnace is going to run.
So this kind of begs the question. So obviously, I think, I mean, if somebody's having respiratory issues, do you think they should take a look at their furnace?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's really good right there. Um, okay, and what do we got here?
And this goes right along with the regular maintenance again. This is a wood trim around a window. If you want your wood to last longer, paint is the #1 protection against UV rays. UV just starts to rot wood, so
Right.
if you don't stay on top of it, it's going to deteriorate faster.
Yeah, so I mean, basically, if somebody would have just, I mean, this doesn't look like a huge job, but now it is, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
If you're not handy with your maintenance, if you can't do it, obviously you got to pay somebody. So be prepared when you're buying your first house.
For sure, you know, that's one thing I've said is like a threat to the housing industry, or not the housing industry, but the like Calgary's housing itself is people that think they can afford houses and then find out they can't, you know?
Yeah, it's just ongoing. On as long as you own your home, you've got constantly got things to do.
Right, right. Okay, well, what's going on here?
Here's the caulking against a window. This is actually, there's a home inspector. I'm in a chat room with a bunch of home inspectors, and he did a study of 5,000 home inspections, and he all the most highest rated things that we write up are maintenance items, and actually caulking around your window is number one,
Really?
most often mentioned.
Okay. So that's what we have here, some broken caulking going along there.
Yeah, so that, if you're handy, you can scrape that out with a putty knife and replace it. I don't recommend going right over top. It would deteriorate even faster.
Right, right, yeah. I imagine. Okay, well, that's a good tip right there. Let's move along here. So what do we have here?
Right up with the maintenance again. So here's a leaky tap I found at an inspection. If you have leaks, you got to look after it right away. It just causes problems, as you'll see in the next picture is the cabinet below this tap.
Okay, let's.
And
Oh yeah.
there you go. You can see the cabinet is rotting away.
Wow.
And there's mold on the walls.
Jeez.
So yeah,
That's like that was like maybe $150 fix. Now it's like a couple thousand.
yeah. And home inspection is non-destructive. When a home inspector leaves an inspection doing an inspection for a buyer, it's supposed to look like I was never there. So who knows what's happening underneath the cabinet to the subfloor, right?
Right. So this kind of looks like to me like, so you think that maybe like even if a person isn't buying or selling, maybe they've been living in their house for like 5 years. You know, do you think that would be a good idea to just get kind of a checkup?
I always, maintenance items are, you'd be surprised what you don't see.
Right. So I mean, so you think that somebody who maybe has been in their house for about 5 years should give you a call and just give it a look over?
Sure.
Yeah. I think that'd be a good idea because I don't think a lot of people do that and they really should.
Yeah.
In this case, you would have saved them a ton of money.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. What's this?
This is back with the home maintenance. This fan wasn't in a bathroom, wasn't running very well. I hold up a tissue, make sure it holds up tissue, and this fan wasn't. So I removed the cover, and this was all just clogged up.
That's disgusting.
That's pretty gross.
Yeah. Wow.
This is from a condo. Condos, separate units, they have to have firewall separation between each unit, and it has to continue right on up through the attic.
Okay.
So all these joints need to be taped and mudded.
Oh, okay. And is there any kind of specific tape and mud that you should use?
Just your basic tape gives you your 1 hour fire rating.
Really? Okay. Interesting. Well, I'll be looking for that next time I'm in an attic. Oh my God, what is this?
Well, this was a house that a flipper had done. The main room was all beautiful in the kitchen, granite counters and so on. But when I went to inspect the attic for my clients, these wires are all going to different pot lights. There's modified trusses. And anytime any modifications are done to anything structural, it's got to be by an engineered stamp of approval, and there's definitely no stamp on here.
That's really good information to know because I had I get this rare call. I think it might be the second time, and they wanted me to do some things with the trusses. And I mean, I have a framer on my crew, but every time I referred to him, he said, "I think an engineer needs to look at this." So I mean, so it's not just we think; it's definitely need an engineer.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're definitely what you're telling me is that no engineer was involved in this one.
No.
Okay. And what kind of consequences are you looking at when you do this kind of thing without an engineer?
That one I wouldn't know.
I imagine that you could end up in court at the very least.
Yeah, if you did the modifications, probably.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, this looks like it's just like complete hack work. Like I've never seen anything that looks this bad.
Yeah, I believe my guess is they had some sagging ceilings. So they're trying to modify up to the upper chords, which still had the strength. But your guess is as good as mine is. That's just terrible work.
To me, that looks like a house that almost needs to be knocked down. You know, like,
But they just had beautiful granite in,
yeah,
nice tile work done.
yeah, that's like that. This is like a nightmare. This is like basically why we're titling this "Shocking Findings" because this is absolutely insane. Like, if I like, did this guy buy this house?
I just give the client, I show him what the current condition of the house is. I don't know if he did. He could have gone back to the seller and asked them to get an engineer's report. I don't
Right.
know.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. And then the insulation is a complete disaster as well.
Yeah. Yeah. When they ran their wiring for the pot lights, they just moved stuff around and they don't, a lot of companies don't really care. You can tell they're just trying to put the nice finishes on the interior, which the buyer looks at, and didn't care much about the rest of it.
Yeah, that's brutal. Whenever I see pot lights, I'm always super skeptical. I'm always like, did they insulate these things properly? Do they put the proper coverings on? Because like 9 out of 10 times they don't.
Yeah, it's a few bucks more for the pot lights that are acceptable in insulation, but obviously, if they can cut corners, people cut corners.
Right. Do you need like polyurethane coverings on them?
It's best for your vapor barrier to keep your vapor barrier intact. It's obviously your attic is a colder area in the winter, and you don't want vapor coming through and condensation coming into your house.
Right. Yeah, one thing I notice is that so people will put those poly caps on there, which is great, but then you'll see water build up in there because it's sticking above the insulation. So like really got to make sure that's buried.
Insulate right over top of them.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you got to like basically because I mean I know you need 20 inches of blown in insulation there, so I'm imagining that you'd have to put your tape measure on the top of that guy and make sure you're 20 inches off.
Yeah, so probably a bat would be better off in that situation because blown in is going to fall off the top of the.
Right. Okay, that's a good idea. Oh, all right. What's this?
Okay, this is a deck on a house I found. So this is only a 1x6, and there was 6 screws holding a 1x6 into the floor framing of the deck. So I deemed that not very safe, and I want my clients to get that fixed as soon as possible.
So like in a rental situation, I suppose the landlord could be on the hook for something like this.
Oh, most likely, if any injury would happen, the landlord would be on the hook for that.
Wow, okay.
I believe the next one is the railing of this same. Yes,
Oh,
this is the railing for that set of stairs. So this needs some work done.
so it kind of looks like maybe the kids had something to do with this.
Here we go. This is quite often around a house when they excavate for the foundation. It's excavated for about 3 feet past where the foundation wall is. You can never backfill that as well as undisturbed soil. So this sidewalk has settled back towards the house. And now that this happened, not only do you need to fill that and level that back out, but the next picture, you'll see what is going on with the house. Whoops.
What's this?
This is not the right one. Sorry.
Okay. Let's just move over here. Well, maybe we'll come back to it later.
Okay.
But
But yeah, incorrect slope causes snow to melt against the house, water to run against the house. And it just, luckily this basement isn't finished. If you get your basement finished by the builder, you don't notice problems until it's too late. You got lots of extensive damage to the interior.
right.
I don't actually recommend, if you're getting a new house built, don't have the basement finished until you've lived in it 1 full year, so you get to see all the seasons.
Right.
of
Okay.
how it's affecting your basement.
That's a smart tip right there. And so, I mean, do you think the builder would be liable if it was unfinished and then you finish it and then something happens?
Probably not. There's probably wording in their contracts that'd be above and beyond what I know.
Right.
But yeah, like I said, I just show what's going on at the current time that I'm in the house. It's basically a snapshot of the house on that particular day.
Okay. And so now I know we don't have the photo of what happened. So what was happening to the house after this?
There's water leaking in through the on the foundation walls and so on.
Gotcha. Okay. So why wouldn't the weeping tile be working in that case?
It probably just can't keep up. And weeping tile is the city inspectors tell them whether they need weeping tile or not in any given subdivision. Not every subdivision is required to have, depending on the ground slope, the type of soil there is. If it's a high clay soil and water runoff is pretty good, they not required to have weeping tile.
Do you think weeping tile should be standard?
Probably save a lot of headaches.
Right. I think if you got it open,
Yeah,
why not?
Extra cost though,
Yeah.
right? If, like I said before, if people can cut corners, they're going to.
See, that always blows my mind because it's just like, as me being a home buyer, I mean, look, if it's a $5,000 more, $10,000 more, that doesn't matter to me. That's added value to the house.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. So this is a big fix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Leveling that. And there is several cures. Obviously, the mud filling or apparently spray foam now. I've never seen the spray foam worked, but you can get holes bored in here and pump it up or jackhammer it out and redo the whole grade and redo the sidewalk.
That is crazy. Well,
Couple of options.
good find, I can say. All right, so what's going on here?
Well, this is back to your pot light with incorrect. This isn't meant for This isn't meant to be in contact with insulation. It does not have the proper cap over it, and it doesn't have the vapor barrier we were talking about before. And as we were saying before, it's supposed to look like I was never there. This was in the attic. I moved the insulation away from this. Apparently the seller was a senior, older lady, and this was a bathroom reno that she'd had done. And so I'd rather have a colder bathroom and not have a fire
So
potential.
true.
So I moved their insulation away and had the realtors contact the seller and let them know that this has to be fixed right away.
Totally. That's a good idea. And she's lucky she doesn't have wood chips there, I guess,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. This was a new home warranty inspection, believe it or not. At 11 months, 11 months after possession, and the sealant on the exhaust on the furnace didn't take. So obviously there's a chance of carbon monoxide coming into your house.
No way.
Yeah. So if you ever think, oh, it's a brand new house, I don't need a home inspection. I've never found a perfect house.
That makes sense. You know what? Some of the new builds are some of the worst houses you can buy.
Yeah.
I know the roofers they put on there, they're so underpaid. And a lot of people are, so they're just rushing as fast as they can because they got to pay the bills.
Yeah.
Obviously not every builder's like that.
No.
There's exceptions, but yeah, that's some of the worst I've seen.
There's another one. This vent didn't even line up with the top of the furnace cap.
That is insane. How?
Just in a rush, they hang the furnace from the joist, and then settling always happens, and it probably dropped out of place.
So is this one of those ones that goes up and then out the side?
Yeah, this is high efficiency.
Right. I know that I think you've posted some photos of like the massive icicles that can happen off those things.
Yeah, if you own a house with a high efficiency furnace, if that icicle gets up and starts to block your vent, you're going to have problems in your house. So you want to obviously keep carbon monoxide out of your house. Kick those icicles over. The condensation comes out and accumulates around the vent too. Break that off.
So that's a potentially deadly issue then.
It definitely is.
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, I don't agree with that new practice. I think they should, we've been doing this for years. We've had them running right out the roof. Like, I don't know why they wouldn't just keep doing that, you know?
Well, the new high efficiencies produce more condensation than the old ones. So I think you got to keep on top of breaking it off. If it was up to the roof, you're not going to see it.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. Yeah. I'm kind of a fan of the older ones, to be honest. I mean, like, they never had that problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, well.
Actually, funny story. My brother-in-law works for Atco Gas, and when that law came into effect in 2010, no more mid efficiencies available anymore. He went and bought 3 mid efficiencies for all his rentals. Didn't just put them in a storage. So.
Wow. Hey, that goes to show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, hopefully we're wrong and it's for the better. Okay, what's this?
Okay, this is back to the townhouses. Have to have the firewall separation right through to the attic space, and this got damaged. Would be for the crane lifting the truss into place. So they punched holes through in here, never patched the holes, and you can see over here the joints aren't drywalled or mudded either.
Okay, so what kind of problem could happen with this?
Well, this is the fire spread through the attic.
Right.
You might have heard about that condo building downtown. They're saying they couldn't stop it. I believe it was last winter, because it kept on traveling through the attic and they couldn't find out where it was still going. I bet you they had this kind of a situation going on.
Right.
I can't guarantee it, but
it's a likely cause.
Likely, yep.
Wow. Okay. Wow. I don't know how. Like, so how do people like look at this and be like, and just leave it alone? Like, people's lives are on the line here.
Yep. It's just people in a rush. I think rush and underpaid.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I don't care how fast you need to go or how underpaid you are. When you're talking about somebody burning alive in their sleep, somebody needs to be fired for that one. Okay, let's move along. Oh, that's it. That's all. Okay. Well, let's just go back here and we'll get your. Okay, so wow, that was really interesting and very telling. That was some amazing stuff, and I hope people listening in on this or watching found that helpful. Well, undoubtedly they would. I mean, that's some interesting stuff going on out there. So besides the home inspector part of you, do you got any interests and hobbies that you're kind of into?
Yeah, I like to. For hobbies, I guess fishing and golfing. Spending time with family, obviously, it's always great. Doing a lot of that during this COVID time. Feel sorry for my kid. She's a young teenager and can't go hang out with her friends and so on. But
that's a vital part of life.
Yeah, it's tough.
So where do you? I mean, I don't know. You got a secret fishing spot you don't want anyone to know about, or?
No, nothing really great. I go to Ghost Lake, but it's pretty deep and they're hard to catch. Only caught little small ones down there.
Little ones. Okay. What's the biggest fish you ever caught?
Probably actually up in Whitetail Lake in BC. It's a hatchery release, so I think it was 26 inches or something.
26 inches. Interesting. Okay. How'd it taste?
I don't like fish. I
No?
just like getting away. Quiet time, fishing behind the boat. It's always fun.
Do you like to kind of like leave your cell phone behind kind of thing when you do it?
Yeah, once in a while.
Once in a while. Yeah. It's like, yeah, I like that, to get away from the phone every so often. And so golfing, how long have you been doing that for?
Oh, actually, I'm just a few years now, but yeah, it's getting mobility issues are getting a little worse all the time. So I've cut down on that quite a bit too.
Well, it's sad to hear. Where do you like to go when you do go?
I used to go to Harvest, but it's not there anymore.
Oh, really?
Delacour is nice.
Okay. And these, I'm pretty like I've gone golfing a couple of times, but you're talking about places in Calgary, hey?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Harvest Hills Golf Club.
Right. Okay. Cool. Um, all right. Well, you got any like shout outs that you would like to give to anybody?
Yeah, definitely. There's a home inspector can't be on top of all the changing codes and so on. So there's Cody Ratai from Code Rad Electrical. I always like keeping guys on my speed dial because I always come up against something that I need clarification on. Also, Grant from Caledonian Plumbing and Heating. There's Bob Baker, Baker Plumbing and Heating. And of course, you, Mike. I like keeping you on
Woo!
No Pain Roofing. Any questions I have about roofing, I go to you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I know we're happy to help you whenever you need that help. You know what's interesting you say? I mean, like especially with electrical, you know, like people like electrical. That's you got to go to school for that. You could be a doctor in electrical engineering. So like I mean, expecting a homeowner to know or a home inspector to know absolutely everything about electrical is a pretty unrealistic expectation.
I think they got a new 3-inch binder of code every year or something. I couldn't imagine staying on top of that.
Right. Yeah. No. Totally. Well, that's really great that you have people you can refer to and have a good, strong team. And we're happy to be a part of your team. That's great. And do you have any charities or anything you want to mention?
Yeah, I like supporting the Alberta Veterans Association. Helped out with their food hampers and so on at Christmas time there, and it's a great cause.
Awesome. Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, so they just kind of Google that in if somebody wanted to like send them a donation or anything.
Yeah, I believe they have a website and donations on their website, but they always appreciate the help too. They're just in the Meridian area,
Okay.
Barlow Trail type of thing.
Yeah,
Barlow Trail North.
do they have like an Instagram or anything?
They're on Instagram and Facebook.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I'm definitely going to be checking them out. Well, I think we're going to wrap this on up. So thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you everybody who's been watching today as well. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you know, always want to hear that. You can call me or just put a comment in the comment sections. Also, don't forget to subscribe and like our YouTube channel. It'd really help us out, support a local business, and also help us support other businesses. So that's all for today. Goodbye for now.
Thanks for having me, Mike.
You're welcome. Perfect. That was really good, man.